And welcome to the latest Rob and Blakey Commentary Box podcast. We are loud and clear on Welsh football. I'm the former BBC Wales football correspondent who is in the Christmas spirit. I'm Rob Phillips. Alongside me, former Wales international and Premier League player Nathan Blake, who isn't in the Christmas spirit.
Well, the Grinch and I. You know what I mean?
The Grinch, yeah. You heard it here first. Yeah. And as you know, we are speaking to you from the University of South Wales Atrium, where we're brought to you by the valued support and of the journalism and media courses. Now, every week, I say, spread the word, tell your friends. We're available on all social media outlets, Instagram, X, Blue Sky, Threads. Watch us on YouTube or get us on your usual podcast outlets, including Spotify. We thank you for your help because the last few weeks we've been really putting figures on, which has been brilliant for us.
Flying.
Absolutely. Fastest growing pod in Welsh football.
Number one.
Mike Flynn, Brian Barry Murphy, the Cardiff manager, Merthyr Town flyer Lewis Twamley last week. We've all attracted plenty of new viewers and listeners, so stay with it. We really love having you.
You didn't mention the Queen of Welsh football. How dare you?
Jess Fishlock early on, yeah. Oh, how could I?
How could you forget?
And of course, if you missed any of our guests, including Jess Fishlock, the Queen of Welsh football, they're available on the previous podcast, which you can still catch on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. And in keeping with efforts to bring you really interesting, entertaining football guests, today we welcome all the way from Thailand, no less, the man who helped produce some prodigious talent at Swansea City, managed in his own right at a now Champions League club Paphos in Cyprus, coached in the Premier League at Leeds, as well as loads of other things which we're going to talk about. Greetings, Cameron Toshack.
Good evening and good afternoon.
Good evening, Cameron. Good afternoon. Sorry about the introduction. We've only got about a minute left of the interview now.
That's a big build-up, Rob. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Great to have you with us. And, of course, I did mention you're the son of John, but I don't need to mention that. But what are you doing in Thailand first, Cam?
So, yeah, I guess it is. It's an interesting place to be talking to you guys from. I actually got a call from a friend of mine and fellow coach at Leeds United when we both worked in the Premier League with Jesse Marsh. Mark Jackson. Mark and I spoke a number of times after that period about if I were to get a role, would he come in and support me and vice versa. So Mark went to Central Coast in the A-League in Australia, did very well, won the treble out there, which is something that no other coach has done before. So he then got a move out to Buriram, which is a big club in Southeast Asia. And he called me and asked me, would I come along to support him? So I answered the call. I spent a little while thinking about a few things and then basically boarded a plane, and here I am.
I would have introduced him as the Prince of Welsh football because his dad being the king and all that. You know what I mean?
Go for that.
You go for that, wouldn't you? You like that, don't you? Yeah. Cam, so I've been having a look at Buriram. You're in the Champions League of Asian football, is that right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right, Nathan. Yeah, I mean, and if I'm being honest, that was probably one of the big pulls for me to come here. Obviously, knowing Mark, I always, when I look at roles in football or in life, indeed, that if you work with good people, it often goes better, let's just say. So I knew that with Mark, and also I wanted to grow not only as a person but professionally. I was fortunate enough to work in the Premier League with Swansea and Leeds United, and also with my father in Morocco in the African Champions League. So to get the opportunity to come and work in the Asian Champions League as well was something that, from a footballing point of view and an understanding of the game and how different cultures work, I was that was something that I thought, I can't turn that down.
And you're sat top of the league currently, right? Am I correct in saying that?
Yes, that's right. Yeah, we're top of the league, top of the Thai league at the moment. And also we're just about in qualification for the next round of the Asian Champions League. We drew last night 2-2 with a very good and very well disciplined Korean team. Yeah.
Yeah. And I noticed you got, what, 8 games Champions League, is it? And you play a different side just once, no home
Yeah,
and away. It's just like a league format, is it?
that's right. Yeah, in the first phase. So we've played I think, as you know, Kevin Muscat. We played Kevin Muscat's
I know Muzzy,
Shanghai
yeah,
Paul
great lad.
at, at home
Yeah.
recently, and we managed to win that game 2-0. We went down in Melbourne, Melbourne City. But to be fair, we played very well the first 75 minutes, 1-0 up, and then we conceded 2 late goals to finish that 2-1. As you can understand from the names that I mentioned in the cities, it's not as if it's like a Swansea to Bristol. They're a long way away.
I was
I
going to
say, I
say.
hope you got the air miles.
I am racking up the air miles, Rob. That's for sure. But no, it's something that, as I said, it's something that it's been everything that I thought it would be to face other teams in different countries with different styles. I mean, the Korean teams that we played one in a place called Ulsan recently, very, very well coached and physically, they empty it. So you have to be very clear about, your game plan and your tactical model, which obviously Mark leads and I support him with. But the travel and the different places that you go. So we've now got 2 games left, one at home to a Chinese team and one away.
And you're assistant to Mark, right? So you're like
Yes, that's
number
right. Yeah.
2
Yeah.
coach, yeah. And where
Yeah.
would you put the standard of football, Cam, in comparison to, say, so you've got Champions League and League. So where would you put that in
Yeah.
comparison to, say, Champions League, Europa League, and then, say, Premier League, Championship, League One?
Yeah. I guess so. Again, I was looking at, because I thought that question might come up. I was looking at our squad. We've got a squad of 35 players. And the way that it's work is that not all players are signed for all competitions.
Yeah.
Because obviously you're only allowed to play a certain number of foreign players in the league, for example. So there's a number of players that play basically certain cups and competitions. I would say the team that we put out last night against Gangwon, who, as I said, are a strong team from Korea, would be comfortable playing lower mid championship.
Okay.
I believe. The way that they performed last night and the way that we played, yeah, I think we would be a comfortable outfit, say mid championship. And then obviously when we change it, then we play more Thai players because of the restrictions, obviously, who, by the way, have also really impressed me with the standard that they can deliver, but also their discipline and understanding instruction.
Yeah.
And their willingness to learn. And I'm talking about, Thai players that are the other side of 30, really wanting to learn about what Mark and I can help them with and coach them and make them better. Because I guess our style of a little bit more of an intense game and front foot football is something that is a little bit new to them in certain aspects.
Do you want to eventually come back and coach here, Cam?
No.
I think if the sun shines there, it'd certainly be appealing. I guess you can't.
I mean, your dad travelled all the time, didn't he?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
mentioned Morocco, Spain, Italy, you name it. I think he won trophies in 6 different countries, if I remember rightly. So,
Yeah.
it's it's in the genes, sort of thing. But
Yeah.
Is this ultimately the place you want to be?
I guess in answer to your question, Rob, it all depends on opportunity, doesn't it? I mean, I had a number of discussions before I came out here at different clubs at different levels in actually different roles as well. So one or two, they decided to do a different thing and go in a different direction. And one or two, perhaps I thought it doesn't really fit for what I would like it to be at this moment in time. Whereas when Mark called, it seemed to align a lot better. So I'm doing a lot more coaching at the moment. So I'm coaching every day with a high performing team in this environment. I'd stepped away from the coaching and did a lot of management work, as you both know, with corporate clients, but also advising other football clubs. One in the US recently about their process and game model. But coming back to your question, yeah, I would like to come back at some point, or I'm very open to being a coach abroad, whether it be, obviously, I think everybody knows, Mark knows, and we've had this discussion a number of times. I'd like to become a head coach again at some point, but at the moment, I'm thoroughly enjoying, my role here working with him. So I guess that's something that is in the distance, but as we all know, it all comes down to opportunity, right?
Yeah, I do look at your CV though, Cam. And I do look at, like, I'm not going to name names, but I can name names right now off the top of my head of people who've had opportunity who nowhere near got your credentials. Why do you put that down to anything? Because I experienced the exact same thing with Eddie Newton. Eddie Newton's now in Saudi, not as a manager,
Eddie, yeah.
not as a coach. Now, Champions League winner as a coach, in exactly the same position as you, as a number 2. And I've seen him coach. Frightening, by the way. I'm talking with the Eden Hazards of this world. Respect him. But couldn't even get an interview here. Couldn't even get an interview. At like League 2. And then when I see some of the coaches going in, and I think, well, how is a Champions League winner as a coach, FA Cup winner as a player, FA Cup scorer, played in the top division, how are you overlooked? I don't get it.
I don't know either, Nathan. I don't have the answer for you. I don't know. I mean,
It
when I was
baffles
at
me.
Swansea,
When you look at it like that, right?
Yeah,
when you
yeah,
look at
no,
the
I know what you're
opportunity,
saying, yeah,
and I
yeah.
don't mean just at like lower level, at like League 2 Newport, and I don't mean just in Wales. I'm talking like across the EFL. You look at some of the opportunities people have had at the Norwiches, Bristol Cities, big whole city, big championship clubs, Brentford now, Keith Andrews. I said I wouldn't name names, but there's a name for you. Opportunity. You put Keith's CV prior to this job against Cam's, they'd be indifferent.
I think it's partly, it is in a camp. Sometimes it's who you know. Sometimes it's opportunities. Sometimes it's circumstance.
But do you think like that? My point is then, are you doing your due diligence? If people like Cam, Eddie Newton, those kind of people with those sorts of CVs are available, and people just overlooking.
You've spoken to loads of clubs though, Cam, haven't you? You've spoken to, let's be honest about it, Welsh clubs as well.
Yeah.
You've had chats with them.
I've had probably what we would describe as informal conversations. I think, again, to Nathan's point, I don't have the answer. I mean, I remember when I was coming out of being so I'd already worked, I was fortunate enough to work with my father in international level with Macedonia and with Wales on some of the like analysis stuff. And then also Morocco in the Champions League of Africa and a big top league in Morocco for a short period. Then when I didn't get the Swansea job after doing, my time, what I felt was the right thing to do with the under 18s and 23s for 6-7 years, had a super time there, worked with some great people and the young men, a lot of the young men have gone on to be really successful.
Developed a lot of players, right?
I'm really happy for them. Ironically, 2 of them doing really well at Leeds at the moment, and with the Welsh national team. I think I was encouraged to go abroad because nothing in the UK was coming up. So I went straight to Cyprus, literally the day after I left the Swansea under 23 role, and that was a real eye opener for me. But something, and you touched on it, Rob, but because I guess the environment I was brought up in and having a father that travelled and was interested in people and culture as well as the love of football, I think at times, I think a lot of UK coaches have the blinkers on a little bit, and I think they would really benefit from going abroad. So like you said, Nathan, Eddie's a prime example. He's gone abroad. He's earned his stripes abroad almost, but then do you have to be in the building to be recognised. I mean,
I
don't think you
know.
should be these days, but it appears at times that is the case,
well,
right?
I don't know, because there's so many foreign managers brought in from different countries, right? So surely, like when you're looking at these managers, surely people like yourself and Eddie, your names.
I wonder if it's a case of, in the UK, not all clubs, but a lot of clubs look for managers. It's changing now. They're looking more for head coaches. But I wonder whether it's manager is a British thing, whereas coach,
I say coaching.
head coach
Head
is
coach has been a while though. It's
yeah,
been
but
around a while.
but on the
that.
continent, it's been head coach. In other words, Cam, on the continent, there's been directors of football bringing in players for coaches for a long time. That's a relatively new concept in the UK, isn't it?
It is. So again, you touched on a role there, sporting director, technical director.
Yeah.
That is often one, in my opinion, one of the key roles of a technical director is to oversee the first team philosophy, game model, and the recruitment of the first team staff. That's one of his or her key roles, as well as, I think, head of performance, head of medical, and leads of academy, so that there's a line through the club. That's what I feel is the best way for that.
But
role
you
to
all have
operate.
to be aligned, right, Cam? You as the manager, head coach, whatever you want to call it, you all have to be aligned right up to the owner of the club, right? The person who puts the cash injection every year.
Yeah, everybody needs clarity. Yeah, for sure. I would agree with that.
I think,
but again, it still doesn't answer the question, does it? It's interesting. I don't know. I mean, obviously, agents have a big part to play because they can put people in, they put players in, so there's a connection there with certain sporting directors and owners, I guess. I don't know.
It might be because your old man won so many trophies in 6 countries and the Liga as well with no other than Real Madrid. Maybe that's just not. He ain't got enough experience. Maybe old man needs to go back and give you a bit more.
It's funny he says that. I went to interview someone on an FAW course. It was none other than Carlo Ancelotti's son, David.
Mm-hmm.
And I said to him, why are you on this FAW course? He said, why? I said, why don't you just ask your dad, who's probably the greatest manager on earth at the moment? And he said, oh, no, we can all learn. But he said, it is handy having Carlo Ancelotti as because he was his number 2, wasn't he?
Well, you tap into it, don't you? Just like
you should
else.
do.
Well, what you say
so how much of an
player?
influence has John been on your philosophy, Cam?
I think, clearly I'm very fortunate, right, to even, like I spoke to him earlier today, to have somebody at the end of a phone, a mentor that I can talk to and get a very good opinion, let's say, on pretty much everything. I think so. I learned a lot from him when I was with him in Macedonia and in Morocco about the way that he sees football. I mean, he sees football and what's happening is very, very impressive on the sidelines during games. There was that I think I learned from him, and I was fortunate enough to be around him, and obviously have him at the end of the phone, but also the way that he treats and interacts and communicates with different cultures and people. I think that's something that often is overlooked. You bear in mind that he went to Sporting Lisbon from Swansea on his own, then he went to Real Sociedad on his own, then he went to Real Madrid on his own.
That's remarkable.
I mean, you look at it now, and people go with Mark. Funny enough, Mark Jackson and I were talking about it over coffee the other day, and we both said, "Wow, that's incredible." Because most people now go with 5 or 6 people, right, into the Dragon's Den, if you like.
You get the team with you.
Yeah. So I think the one thing I learned from him as well is the importance of how you work and respect people with the end goal. Like, not everybody can win the cup, not everybody can win the league, but everybody that goes into an environment can certainly leave it in a better place than what they found it.
Yeah.
Do you keep your eye on Welsh football then? The 4 Welsh clubs, Cam? Newport, Cardiff,
From
Swansea.
time to time it has.
And what have you made of them?
We've had we've had 5 games in 15 days. So it's been pretty busy. But yeah, I do obviously keep an eye out, and obviously being Welsh, I want Wales and the Welsh clubs to do well. So yeah, I see obviously Cardiff. We'd hope would be top of that league, and to be fair, Brian's doing a good job there, right? Swansea have had to change, so they're going through a transition at the moment. We'll see whether that works or not. And then I believe your point last year, Nathan, when the three of us were speaking about it, your prediction has proved to be right. That this year, Wrexham could very well be the highest ranked Welsh club in.
Did you say
in
that
the divisions?
last year?
Well,
funny,
mate,
that's escaped me. That Cam, I don't remember that.
Some people give credit
Rob,
where it's due. Some people just.
Rob, you've got to give credit where it's due. That's where it came from.
When I get it. It's interesting as well, Cam. We're recording this Wednesday, as you know. It's Wednesday evening with you. Swansea last night, another big 3 points. One of your sort of boys, Liam Cullen, who you've seen come through the club, has got a belter of a goal, 6 points. I saw the game. I went to Oxford game on Saturday. Before Saturday, they were outside the relegation zone on goal difference. Josh Timon scored a screamer on Saturday. I don't know if you've seen it. And now they're 6 points clear with a bit of breathing space. I'm not saying it's all done, but a bit of breathing. And Vitor Matos has got his first couple of wins.
Yeah, I think that the thing that's important that Vitor, when he goes in there, personally, is he's had 2 clean sheets there, right?
Yeah, I was just about to say,
And that is important. That's important for any coach that goes anywhere, because if you can't get those, then it kind of lends to, well, okay, can you structure this team to be difficult to beat, and then you work perhaps on like late substitutions. I don't know this is the case, but Liam can certainly come off the bench and impact football matches. I know that very
exactly
well myself.
What he did.
Right. Okay. So that's good to see, right? It's good to see that Swansea hopefully are just are starting to drag themselves up that table. But I know there's been a lot of change at the football club, and there continues to be for some reason, and there's a lot of people that are slightly disillusioned with some of the decision making there over the last few years. So hopefully the decisions made recently will stand them in good stead moving forward. But I think from what I remember, from what I saw, the group of players probably should be mid-table in that league. So that's hopefully where they'll be at least aiming for.
It's interesting you make that point about substitutions, Nath. Last night, Vitor Matos put on Zidane Inusa, Malaki Olkoi, and Liam Cullen. Cullen gets his second goal of the season. Inusa's involved in the move, helped on by Yalkoi, and Cullen strikes it home. How important is that sort of being able to change things, bring people on the bench?
Well, I hate to mention Cardiff and the Swansea chat, but we've seen it with BBM.
Well, we'll come
Cardiff,
on to that one
right?
now. Yeah,
it's we see it at Arsenal this season, especially last season. They struggled. You've seen it Liverpool last season. You see every top team, Man United, when they were flying. You'd bring Solskjaer off the bench and he'd get you a couple of goals. Or do you know what I mean? Every club was, for me, if you're successful, you've not just got a strong 16. You've got a strong 20-odd players.
Yeah.
And that bench can impact the game. That's the whole idea for many, many years. So in our day, to be a sub was like a bit of a diss, right? Like, you come on.
I bet you showed off.
With a bit of a. Well, I was never sub, so I don't know. So you come off the bench and you don't impact the game the way you should, right? But nowadays, you're not looking at 11 men. I played in the day when you only had 2 subs, right?
Did you say that you were never sub?
Oh, once or twice.
There's books, where
once or twice.
Okay.
400 odd games.
That's your duty for this week, Rob?
400 a game. You can look at the 400 games as well. But it's totally different now. I'm sure you agree, Cam, right? You're expected as a substitute to do exactly that, right? Come on and really impact the game. And if you can't, you're not really useful to me in this squad system that's now being played.
Yeah, I would agree with that wholeheartedly. I mean, Mark and I speak about this here all the time with the group of players that we've got. And the language, I think, that is important sometimes for young men to realise that if you call them a finisher, then you're going in to finish a job. You're not a substitute, you're going in to finish. You're not a starter, but we're expecting you to, for example, go in and control the ball and make good passes. Or we're asking you to go in and say a set piece specialist to do a job because we're on top and we're playing a lot of the game in the last third.
Yeah.
And again, when you put 2 or 3 subs on, don't underestimate the difficulty for the opposing team as well when you're getting a lot of set plays, because all of a sudden one man's come off and another number's come on. It's not quite as easy as going, right, well, okay, you mark him or he might go into this zone. There's intricacies now and people's movement on blocks, and they're very good teams.
Yeah.
Like, so as I said to you, for example, the Koreans and the Chinese that we've played recently, very, very, very good, very effective and efficient at their set piece model, if you like. What we call, and what I call here, a game within a game. So it's a set piece game. So you want to win the set piece game. And often, if you win the set piece game, you win the game.
Yeah, and I mean, if you're a player, right, Rob, you're a striker on the bench, and you come on for someone, there's a total difference if you're coming on as a set piece than if I'm coming on, right?
Yeah.
So size, stature, strength. I mean, we seen it the other night in a game where there's questions being asked: should this player be with this player? And I think what Cam is saying there is, if you introduce a substitute, and the person marking me is going to find it far more difficult than he is going to be marking you in an aerial duel and what have you.
Yeah, and I think you find that'd be a starter, Nathan.
Yeah,
if I played. And you mentioned that word finisher. It's something Eddie Jones characterised in rugby, wasn't it? Popularised. It's all about. It's not just the 15. It's
Absolutely.
the finishers on the bench. Well, perfect example for Cardiff City. Go to Stevenage, third in the table. Miserly defence. I think they conceded 2 goals at home all season. It's 0-0. Just past the hour, he put on a guy called Omari Kellyman, the Chelsea loanee. And then with 10 minutes to go, and it's looking all over a boring 0-0 because Stevenage just hoofed the ball forward. Cardiff are finding it difficult to break down. He doesn't settle for 0-0, which would have been an acceptable result given they're third in the table. He puts on Isaac Davis, Callum Robinson, David Turnbull, the former Celtic player, and Robinson pops up with a winner. Only his 4, and you talk about, Nath, you said about, if I'm a sub, I got to go on and make an impact. That was his 13th sub appearance this season. He's only made 4 starts. Callum Robinson, Irish international, but that was his 4th goal.
Yeah, and I think,
and it wins a game.
Well,
a big game.
Exactly, and I think what we've said about Cardiff a lot is that inexperience. Now, I would be, if I'm BBM, I'm looking to someone like Callum to be my big player in a jet. Doesn't matter if you're not starting.
But does it matter to him though? It will matter to him.
It will, absolutely. It will matter to him. But he'll feel better once he's come off the bench and got a goal, because now he'll be expecting to start. But you're trying to shift Salak, who, in fairness, is top scorer and had the shift, right? So you've got to be thinking to yourself, maybe I can play on the left, maybe in a 10 position. But if I come on and impact the game, it gives the manager a thought process. One, he's doing exactly what I want him to do. He's actually part of this squad. But 2, right, now I've got a bit of a dilemma. Do I play him instead of Kellerman? Do I play him instead of Salak? Do I play him against a more sort of robust centre half? And I think myself, well, the movement is going to really unlock this team. So I think there's so much that players like Robinson can give you, not just on the pitch, but I think in the dressing room, his experience, just said Irish international, right? They've got players at the back. They've got 3 or 4 really, really well-experienced players, and I think that's huge for Cardiff.
Callum Chambers went in yesterday.
Absolutely.
Perry G is not a regular, or doesn't always start, but he's contributed.
But they're managing
in fact, they had
the kids,
2 Welsh players on the bench.
Yeah, they can manage
yeah.
the kids, right? In the tough times.
Yeah.
when you get through the season. Now, this is the toughest period for me. I always say December, January, February. If you can manage that period, and you've got to have experience. If you don't have it, it's what Chelsea are finding out now.
Yeah.
You can have all the players in the world. If you don't have a bit of experience in your camp, you're going to find it a struggle at some point.
And it's 4 wins on the bounce for Chelsea now. Wrexham, they're at Hull.
Chelsea
next week. Yeah, quickly on that one, Cam. League Cup quarterfinal, Carabao Cup quarterfinal next week. Cardiff home to Chelsea. Interesting. Shouldn't win.
Well, you never know, right? You never know. I mean, by the way, those players that you just rattled off there playing in League One, that's pretty good for that team, right?
Mm.
Yeah.
So you just rattled off some good young players, and also some experienced, good quality players that have played at a decent level. So I don't think, whilst obviously Chelsea are Chelsea, right? And they're also doing very well, by the way, on set pieces. I had a little look the other day about the quality that they're delivering in the Premier League. It's not like your average League One team playing a Premier League team. I think Cardiff's group of players are probably, we'd say, mid-championship group. Even then, you're playing the elite in the Premier League, and I think it's fair to say, we've touched on it before, the gap between the Championship and the Premier League is big.
It's huge.
I think, see, that's where your mind comes in. I think when you know you're a good player, and you know I can play at any level, or you should think to yourself, I can play at any level. When someone says to you, "Here's the gauntlet of challenging one of the top in the country," oh man,
you'd love it.
That is like music. I'm gonna prove in 90 minutes I'm the best player on this park, or I'm the best attacker against their defenders, or I'm the best defender. I'm going to clean their attack up. Those are the challenges, I think, mentally, that I think if you can understand and look for, relish it. I mean, not be unnerved or anything like that. I think that's the difference between making it or not, actually.
Yeah, and I saw a stat today. I hope it's right. I saw it on Twitter, so it must be right. That Cardiff had won 18 games this season, one more than Arsenal.
Yeah,
which is some going.
Yeah.
Talking about being ready, or we know the difference between Championship and Premier League. Wrexham playing at Hull, so when you hear this podcast or watch it, you may well know how they've got on. But really significant at Wrexham this week, Cam. They've welcomed another investor on board, and not just any investor. Apollo Sports Capital, an affiliate of Apollo, a global alternative asset manager. And in fact, they're in the process of becoming the new owners of Spanish giants Atletico Madrid. ASC are majority shareholders, with the deal set to be formalised.
What will happen at Wrexham is what I predict what is happening will happen at Wrexham is what should have happened to Cardiff. That's my point. They will go Premier League and become an established Premier League team. Not a yo-yo, an established Premier League team. And then they'll go from here, they'll get into the Premier League, they'll establish themselves and settle, and then it'll be, right, now we're going to go and challenge that top six. I'm telling you, that should be the ethos of any club.
I'd be interesting, Cam. In Thailand, I've told this story before on the podcast. My daughter went travelling around Asia, and you get you're from Wales. You're from England. No, I'm from Wales. Ah, Wales. And they used to say Ryan Giggs or Gareth Bale. Now she said she got in a taxi, said, "Where are you from?" Wales. Ah, Wrexham. Mm. Are you noticing a global brand of Wrexham in Thailand?
Not in Thailand. I was in the US recently, and I certainly did there. Going back to your point, I think the new investors that you touch on, they'll come in with very clear roles and responsibilities and ideas, and they'll know how to run an effective, high-performing group. So one of the points that Nathan mentioned earlier about succession planning, say for head coaches or for staff or for players, they'll more likely than not not that it's not there now, but they've got experience of dealing with these things and doing a really good job. So
Yeah.
it'll be interesting to see. I mean,
I think
one
they're
thing for
buying a
sure,
10% stake. I
that's not
think
a
that's
bad
the
move.
point. Yeah. I think it's a 10% stake. But Wrexham's
Right.
statement says Wrexham's long-term growth strategy and Premier League aspirations.
Long term.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolute long term. That's the music to your ears if you're a fan.
Yeah.
Right? Because I think a lot of people would have predicted that it'd blow up in Wrexham's face. Hollywood owners, blah, 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 blah. Listen, I knew after about a year, that's a bit different.
Yeah, they haven't put a foot wrong so far. They can't, Wrexham, since
I think
Ryan and
they
Rob
deserve
came
a
in.
lot of credit.
Round
deserve
pegs
a
in
lot of
round
credit.
holes. Yeah.
And we talked about him before. Phil Parkinson. He's got added pressure. They spent big in the summer, one of the biggest spenders in the Championship. But as we said, they had to, Cam, to get level to where they want to be. And now you expect them to spend again in January to get even better because they're right in the hunt, not far away from playoffs.
Yeah, I think I'm pleased that he's been given the opportunity, because there was a lot of talk around where he'd been and what he'd done, but at what levels, etc. So I think one thing that strikes me about him, and I don't know him, but his work ethic is very, very good, and people attract like-minded people often. So from a Wrexham point of view, I think that bodes well for the future. And I wish him the best. I think he's done a super job there as the manager. And I think he's more of a manager than a coach. I think it would be fair to say.
Yeah. And what you've made lastly, Cam, because I know it's nighttime there and you're probably past your bedtime and all that. But what have you made of Newport County? The situation, change of manager and the owner and the squad. There's been a lot of talk about lack of experience. What have you made of the situation as a whole?
It's a very broad brushstroke comment. It's frustrating, right? I guess, I think Hugh went in and obviously had his ideas, and I think it's, before we start, if Hugh hadn't gone in, I think the club would have gone. So number one, he deserves credit for going in. I think now, obviously, after Nelson did what can only be described as a good job in the end, right? In doing what he did, there were changes at the start of the season, and there's more changes with if you like profile coming in. It's just how, I guess, where they are now is how can they make that profile and the contacts that these people have work for them. That's the piece for me. I mean, I haven't seen many of their games. I've obviously watched their results, and unfortunately, they've not been great of late. But fingers crossed, as you said, Nathan. This time of year, if you go on a run of say 6 games and you manage to win 3 and get 2 draws or 3 and it can make a huge difference. Yeah. It can make a huge difference. But you have to believe you can.
Yeah,
because if you don't believe you can, then you're not going to.
I think that's a major problem for me. I think a lot of people, a lot of fans aren't convinced. Like you would know, Cam, you live and die by your 11 people on the pitch, right? Everything else is built around that. If you start to build the outskirts and then think, right, we'll do the team last, it's like the wrong way around, because you don't attract investment, this sort of thing. Players look at your project and what have you. So I would say you've got to invest in the team first, and then you can attach the commercial element, the sponsorship element, things like that. I think a lot of fans are fearing the worst without, well, some of them are saying it, but without really saying it.
Yeah.
My thing is, I understand Hugh Jenkins' position, but would you say you're just better being honest? Because I think he seems to be the only one who thinks that the squad is good enough. Now, if they turn out and stay up, then he's proved us all wrong, or proved a lot of people wrong. But when I'm watching and I'm not like a novice at this, I look and I'm watching, I'm thinking, I'd love to say, yeah, Hugh, I can see what's going to happen. It's going to develop in 3 months' time, or I just don't see it, mate.
It's difficult.
Yeah, again, it's difficult for me to comment because I
Because you haven't seen them.
haven't been close to it. But yeah, where they are at the bottom at the moment is a concern, right, for Welsh football and for obviously the supporters and the club at Newport.
Yeah, and there's a fans forum next week,
Which Rob is
well, I've been invited.
comparing.
Yeah, it could get pretty fierce, I think. Cam, it's been brilliant having you. Want to ask you obviously how John is, and just looking up again today, the gold and diamond insignia that Real Sociedad awarded him before their game against Real Madrid, and of course Xabi Alonso was there to present it to him as well.
Why?
Because he was made captain of Sociedad by John Toshack at the age of 19.
He learned more off Toshack than anybody else.
Yeah, and I mean, you've told me before how many other managers have said that to you. How is John? And just very quickly, Cam, just give us the sort of influence that you're aware of that he's had on other managers.
Yeah, he's okay. He's obviously everybody I think knows he had a tough time during COVID, and that has no doubt affected him to the present day. His memory, his short-term memory is being affected, but we're in a position where I guess medium to long term. So I speak to him most days, and when I speak to him about football or the old times or the stories and where he was, etc., his memory is as sharp as it ever was. It's just the recent few years where he struggles a little bit. But otherwise, he's okay. I mean, again, he's no spring chicken, right? He always says to me, "I couldn't get the far post, let alone the near post now." So I always joke with him. I said, "You never did get the near post." So and then he's quick to come back with, "No, but I did all right at the far post." So there you go. What can you do?
And you went to see Xabi Alonso, I think, didn't you, when he was in Germany and others too?
Yeah, I did. I was fortunate enough through that link to go and visit Xavi when they had that fantastic season where they blew away everything in front of them when he was at Bayer Leverkusen. So that was a great experience for me as a coach. And also Unai Emery, who my father knows was a player, who was a player at Real Sociedad, and he spoke. I actually didn't know, but he the stories that he shared with me about my father and his respect for him and how he treated him as a young player and the impact that he saw on Real Sociedad whilst he was there was nice. It was nice to hear. But yeah, going back to the insignia, he got awarded by Real Sociedad for his service there, and it was nice that during that day, the day they chose really was when they played Real Madrid. So Xabi Alonso was there to help present that, and he met up with, and he said this. I got sent a couple of pictures. He was with Butragueño, who still works at Real Madrid, and again, I didn't know this until recently. He actually called a hospital when Dad was in COVID, during COVID rather. Butragueño called a hospital every day just to check up and see how he was. So he sent me a picture of Butragueño, Xabi Alonso, and Roberto Carlos. So, as he said, for a five-a-side team, Cam, we'd only look for two others, and it doesn't really matter about their quality.
Brilliant, Cam. Well,
so his sense of humour is still there, fellas.
Football royalty.
Oh, well, yeah. I say it all the time, mate. I just think, I think for what he achieved as a player, what he achieved as a manager at Swansea, and then we've seen so many British coaches go abroad and fail within a second. And what he's done at different countries, and Spain especially, because it's, respected as one of the top 3 leagues in the world, right? And the biggest club in the world, and he's won the league. Listen, I just
been there twice.
I just don't know how I don't. Do you know what my thing is? I don't know how a country like ours doesn't have a position for him.
Well, I suppose,
and that's not because he gave me my first Welsh cap.
No,
that's just, if I want to be the best, I'm going to go and get the information from the best. That's just my motto.
I suppose he was Wales manager, and what I would say, when he was Wales manager, he was responsible for an awful lot of that crop who developed into the class of
Well, thanks,
2016.
mate. Oh, you mean?
Well, no, I mean, I keep going back to this. The Belgium 1-0 win in the qualifiers, I think I made it the 10 of the 12 players who played in that game
Started under Tosh.
were given their first caps by John Toshack.
Not bad.
Say no more. And Chris Coleman always had time to say, look,
Absolutely.
I'm doing the work. I'm getting the plaudits now, but there are a lot of people who came into this, and one
It's
of
got
the
to start
big parts
somewhere,
was
right?
John Toshack.
It's got to start somewhere.
Right.
I know, like, Speeds is loaded for
Yeah.
but it really and truly, if you go back to it, like you say, 10 of those players in 2016 were, developed under Tosh or given opportunity under Tosh.
So, Cam, we're keeping you from your bed, but thank you so much. It's been brilliant talking to you. And obviously, when you're home, there's room next to...
a couple of tickets.
It's just about room next to Nathan on his settee there.
We'll come over and do a show from Buriram.
Well, that's the other thing, yeah. Wow. Now you're
welcome.
talking.
Yeah, you like that,
Always
don't you?
welcome.
Brilliant, Cam.
Cheers,
Thanks a lot
Tosh.
for joining us. Really appreciate it. All the best.
Top man, Cam. Take
Pleasure.
care, brother.
Lovely to see you both.
And you,
Merry
mate.
Christmas. Take care.
Oh,
Happy
you even
Christmas, mate.
even get applause from the backroom team.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
So that's Cameron Toshack. We do thank him. He's brilliant value. And but we've got plenty more to come on the Rob and Blakey Commentary Box podcast. And while we're at it, if there are any sponsors out there or advertisers looking to get involved in the fastest growing podcast in Welsh football, then we are open to offers. You can drop us an email if you want to talk. Our email is robandblakey@gmail.com. And don't forget, we're a podcast that you can get on all sorts of social media outlets: Instagram, X, Blue Sky, Threads. Watch us on YouTube and get us on all your usual podcast outlets,
we were the
including Spotify. Well,
That's what you said. to me,
no,
we're
I
the best.
gotta give you things to strive for.
Oh, okay.
Okay, just to keep your motivation going, because it can be tough off the bench. Right. Sad to report, our guest last week, Lewis Twamley, didn't. We didn't bring him too much luck because Merthyr lost 1-0 against top of the
tough,
table
but,
AFC.
apparently, we read a few reports and had opportunities, mind.
Yeah.
Had opportunities to win the game. Yeah. Similar to, I suppose, what Cardiff and Stevenage, it's that sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
But that's the difference between promotion and being in the pack, I think, right? Is, when you really need to, can you go to your toughest test and pick up 3 points? But I think they got to play them home yet.
Yeah, they have.
So,
and it's fair to say their 8-game winning run didn't go unnoticed. Paul Michael won the Manager of the Month award this week, and as the highest scorer in top 6 domestic English leagues, Ricardo Reis with 23 goals was Player of the Month.
Maybe he should get the manager on. You're a Merthyr Cobb man and all that now.
Well, if he brings a cob with him, he can come on anytime. Of course he can.
Ask him to come on and see what his philosophy. Let's talk his philosophy, and because he's done really and truly, they're not budgeted to be in that league.
No,
I would say they're punching well above that weight. So it'd be lovely to either get him online or get him in studio and talk about work your Merthyr Cobb magic. See what
okay, I'll see what I can do there. They remain third in the table, 6 points ahead of the next club. Next in action on December the 20th because it's FA Trophy this weekend. Right, on to the domestic leagues. And I'm sure we will come on to the domestic leagues now.
A bit premature,
because we're going to take a quick break here. Yeah. But stay with us because we've got to talk about the domestic leagues and our part in a breaking story on the Welsh Cup. So Nathan has been joined on the Rob and Blakey sofa.
Yeah, well,
he takes up a lot of it himself. By Eduardo Bregua, who is our domestic football expert. And it's fair to say we've played a bit of a part in the breaking story in Welsh football this week, Eduardo. Go on, explain.
Yeah, by the looks of things now, from Noel Mooney's tweet, he said he took everyone's sort of opinions into consideration, and now they're working with a broadcaster. I assume it'll be Scorio, to get the Welsh Cup draws live now, broadcast live on TV or online.
If you remember, Nath, we talked about it last week. Flint made a complaint because the draw had been leaked. A draw that we did a couple of rounds ago, which didn't get leaked. In fact, we were sworn to secrecy.
Yeah.
Even though we wanted to talk about it, we were told no. And what happened, those of you who are on X, Noel Mooney quote tweeted my intervention when I said, well, hang on, we did the draw and we found it perfectly good. And it was as we did it, it came out.
What I'm saying is, if you're going to chuck an accusation, say it, right?
Flint said it should be live and they were open to this. So
insinuating that it was what? A bit dodgy or something.
Well, they
like
did get
that.
pen and bond.
Yeah, well, it happens though in a draw,
it does,
right?
exactly.
Hey, that's the whole point of a draw. Like, what I'm saying is, the aftermath of what you're saying, not you, what they're saying is that it wasn't done correctly. Is a bit, and I would say, well, that's a bit strong, isn't it?
They were
Especially
a bit
like we were sworn to
wary.
absolute secrecy. We couldn't even tell like our families. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So Noel Mooney went on X and said, it's no mystery that we're always striving to improve, and we do this by listening to the people that matter. Clubs and supporters, in case you thought it was us.
Oh, yeah.
We try to create a nice quality production, so this takes some work and money, but it's clear that we should move this to live. And then in a follow-up post, he said, we are working with broadcast to get it done. See it, say it, sorted, as they say.
Yeah, and I don't think anyone is against it in Welsh football to have it live now. And I think it's probably a good time as the game in Wales is transitioning to get it sort of as professional as possible. So, yeah, I think, like we mentioned last week, Flint's statement was wrong, but in the end, they probably got what they wanted and what probably most people in Welsh football want, to have the live draw.
All I hope is that the Youth Cup and the Women's Cup draws, which we did at the same time, don't suffer because if you're a broadcaster, you only want the Welsh Cup draw.
Yeah, I agree. Totally agree.
So that's something to bear in mind because, I know there would be some in the FAW who'd be disappointed if it went live because the production is so much better when they do features around the clubs involved and all this sort of stuff. So we shall see, but it's fair to say we played a little bit, a very tiny bit in that change. Standout of the weekend in the Cymru Premier, I think, has to be an absolute worldie. I mean, Josh Tymon scored a belter at Swansea, but not far down the road, Corey Shepherd, whoa, hold my beer.
Yeah, literally. And I think what's amazing about it is, I think it was Monday or Tuesday, the Cymru Leagues or Scorio, they put out a reel on Instagram and showing how many goals he scored from the halfway line. I think he scored 4 or 5 that have been filmed live, and that goal against Bala is special. And it's a much needed 3 points for Haverfordwest to try and pull them clear of relegation, which 12 months ago would have seemed ridiculous for them.
Yeah, when I said down the road, I meant the long road to Bala.
Yeah.
Because they were on the road. Yes. And also at the weekend, there was Cup
action,
the Nathaniel MG Cup.
Yeah, Nathaniel MG
decided,
Cup.
Well, not decided, but we know they are now the finalists.
Yeah, it's going to be TNS against Barry, and it's being held at Penabont, I believe, in the south. So that'll be an interesting final. Obviously, TNS will be big favourites, but Barry are probably the most, like we mentioned last week, between them and Colwyn Bay, probably is the most informed sides in the league. They got a valuable point last night at Penabont as well. They drew 1-1. So that shows that how much they're, improving. And before that, the clean sheet record they had. So, yeah, they're in the final alongside TNS, who had a tough game against Llandudno, who were top of the Cymru North. And looking at some of the highlights, Llandudno quite unlucky not to win the game. They ended up losing 2-1. but there was quite a talk about backlash from Flint. I think from Llandudno, something, and their players, they were saying about they definitely should have had a penalty in the second half. They had a goal offside that didn't look offside, so they were well in the game against sort of the heights of Welsh football.
Yeah, and the TNS last night winning 2-0 at Britain Ferry. Not so much of a surprise that. 13 points clear at the top. And when
How many?
13, but Coniskew got games in hand.
Yeah.
And obviously TNS, holders of the Nathaniel MG Cup, holders and record 11 times winners. So, but Barry will give it a go, won't they?
Yeah, definitely. And I think it being in the south gives more fan presence for Barry anyway. Yeah. So that'll give them that sort of advantage. But yeah, it's going to be it's a tough task to beat TNS.
February the 28th, that one at 5:30. Talk about the Adran then.
Yeah, so on the Britain Ferry against Cardiff game was postponed, unfortunately. Swansea had a big win away at Pontypridd. I think they went 1-0 down, and then they came back. So that was a big win. So it's been, again, I just think Swansea, they're going to keep competing, but Wrexham and Cardiff look to be the two sort of standout sides. I think Cardiff just have a bit too much quality, and I think it's maybe a year early for Wrexham. Okay. I think the next year for them.
Their way.
But they're on their way there.
Very serious about it.
Yes.
Yeah, they really
definitely.
are.
Is there a case that they could transition into the English pyramid?
Well, funny enough, I went on a Wrexham podcast.
Because that's what they're going to, I would have thought.
And that was their last question to me. Do you think this is all preparing Wrexham to go into England?
Well, I didn't know that. So.
I'd like to think not. Partly because I think the FAW, to their credit, and I've been critical of the FAW plenty of times, I do think they are trying on Welsh women's football, trying to promote the game.
I understand,
and they need Wrexham.
I understand what you're saying, right? And they do, but Wrexham don't need them.
Well,
that's what the point is. If I can play against Liverpool, Arsenal, Manchester City, Aston Villa, Everton, or I can play against it, which one are you going to go with? Your profile, I mean. Just you heard Cam say when I was in America, profile's raising. I think they'll end up trying to go into English football, personally.
Well, maybe
and if you're looking at the bigger picture, that would be what you would try and do, right? No disrespect to us here in Wales, but, you're going to try and get as much profile and influence and recognition as possible. And you're going to get way more.
Well, hopefully, if it happens, that's a long way down the line. But what I would say is there's some profile to be winning titles, to be in other words, they'd be a relatively big fish, but in a much bigger pond if they went into England. Whereas if they're winning, Welsh titles,
let's
or
be honest,
dueling with Cardiff.
Yeah, I talk honesty. It's not the same. If
that
was the case, the 4 Welsh clubs would be in the Welsh League.
But if you're a club that wants profile, there's nothing better than winning. You could say the same about Celtic and Rangers, couldn't you? They often do. Or why don't they join the English system? Well, no.
I think it just depends as well on how fast. I know Wrexham, how fast they're growing, but how fast are their women's team going to grow? And the other thing that comes with Welsh football is the qualification for the Champions League. Cardiff have had some great games over the last couple of years, so there's that to also take into account. But I don't think any of us would be surprised if they did,
I would throw you TNS and all their success over the last decade.
Yeah.
Right? That's nothing. Their recognition is nothing compared to what Merthyr are doing right now.
No, but what I would...
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I would counter that by saying that Wrexham have the sort of infrastructure and profile already that their women's side winning the Adran Premier would get a much higher profile than TNS continuing to win the Cymru Prem.
Yeah, but if the women win that Adran 10 times, it'd be nothing like getting promoted to the WSL.
Well, as I said, I think it's the same argument. Oh, Celtic should go into England.
It's not. I'm not talking about Celtic. It's nothing to do with the SPL. It's totally different.
Exactly, and Wrexham and
going for profile. It's not like Celtic. You don't know. Celtic's like the first club to win a European trophy. You know the history of that club.
But I think
Rangers, you know,
Eduardo
the
makes a
history
good
of
point.
that
Europe
club.
is a big carrot for a club like
Yeah,
Wrexham. Who would make the most out of
Well,
it?
you
What
get
I'm saying
Europe
is,
anyway, can you?
they
In
would make-
WSL.
Yeah, but that's a long way. There's a lot
Well,
of
that's
leagues
what
to
I'm
go
saying,
through.
though. That's the long-term project, isn't it? I would say.
I think they are.
You
they're
think they'll
finding
end up
ways.
in the Adrian and staying in the Adrian?
I
do you?
hope so, yeah, because I think the FAW needs them. They need the
That's my
profile
point.
clubs.
The FAW need them. They don't need the FAW. That's the whole point I'm making.
Yeah.
If it was you and you were making a business decision based upon your club, your fans, and your profile going forward, and to grow the biggest profile you can in Welsh football, as in a Welsh club, what would you do? Stay in the Adrian, or would you want to get into the WSL?
Well, all I'd say is that look at the furore there was when the FAW tried to get the 4 English league clubs into Europe
Didn't answer my question.
through the... No. In other words, the kickback came
like it.
from
I like
the leagues
it.
over
I
there.
like it. I
The
like-
leagues in England.
Wait,
And why...
shapeshifting.
Why
I
would
know shapeshifting?
Why would some of the big clubs in the WSL want Wrexham to be?
Well, they
part
don't
of their-
start in the WSL, do they? You start. The
No,
bottom, you
but
work your
why
way
would
up.
they want possible contenders in 10 years' time when they're doing fine themselves? Thank you.
I don't understand your point.
Well, why would you? If you were Chelsea, Arsenal, or Man City, why would you want another big sort of
Because it's
beast?
women's football and it's there for everybody. You can't say, oh well, you're
Wrexham
Welsh.
are doing it
stay out
fine
of
for
it.
Welsh football now. So
I don't know, mate.
Okay.
Let's see what happens.
Yeah,
If we're
we'll
still
see.
here in
We'll see.
Podding In 5 years' time, I don't think it'll be that long. To be
you
honest with
probably would have browbeaten me by then. Don't worry. But I'll still be smiling. Finally, because
Ginger Christmas jumper.
we've had two parts of this podcast today. It's been brilliant, man. Really enjoyed
It
it.
has been.
World Cup. The draw was made since our last pod. If Wales overcome Bosnia, and then if Wales overcome Bosnia and then overcome Italy or Northern Ireland, they will be in a group with Canada,
Canada.
Switzerland, Qatar. So I've
I
looked
tell you,
at...
will be happy,
Go on.
Craig. You know why?
He's meeting his mate again.
Down the Vetch, not the Vetch, down the Swansea.com, is it?
Swansea.com.
Go and show my age there. That's,
You
great,
are.
that's where the great beer comes in.
That is getting great. You're almost
it
Father
is, it is.
Christmas, mate.
Yeah. Well, I'm the Grinch, so I don't do Christmas. I just told you.
It's interesting. Craig Bellamy did a media session on Monday morning, and apparently it was to clear up, tidy up what happened through the year, etc., reflect on it. But everybody was going to ask him about, if you remember, after Wales lost to Canada at the Swansea.com in October, Craig Bellamy didn't like the way Jesse Marsh and his team celebrated
Early.
although Cam Toshack has said
There's only a minute or
he
so.
does it
Yeah, it's a
before-
norm. It's not a
at the end
disrespect.
of every game.
Yeah.
And then he said, I hope we meet them in the World Cup. Well, your wish has been granted. Hopefully.
Well, got to get there first.
Yeah.
And it's a hell of a mountain, right?
It is, yeah.
We've been there for, the last Euros, right, under Pagey. We know what that playoff situation is like. We've got the home draw. So, listen, fingers crossed. And this is partly for Craig, and partly just for us as fans. You want to get there. We keep everything crossed they can get there, because I think they're not that Bosnia or Italy or anything. I don't know their situation, but I look at our situation and go, they're deserving of it for what they've done, for what Craig has done, new manager, the way they play, and going forward in future, you just to keep the ball rolling on qualification. It's important.
Eduardo, are you going to America or Canada or Mexico?
Well, you never know, but like Nathan said, we got to get there first. And I think in terms of when you look before the draw, which team did you want to avoid out of everyone? You probably would have said Italy, just because of their pedigree.
Probably would have, yeah.
They're not what they were, though, I don't.
No, and the fact that we've got them at home as well, I think that is the biggest advantage we could probably take.
If
going
we
into the
get
game.
there, I've been doing a bit of homework.
That's not like you.
Well, you should think about that. So, You can fly from Heathrow to Toronto. It takes about 8 hours, something like that. I don't know. I didn't look at that bit. But Toronto is where Wales play Canada. Then they play Switzerland in Los Angeles, which is 2,500 miles, just over, 71 hours on a train, 65 hours on a bus, 9 hours on a plane. And then from LA to Seattle, where Wales will play Qatar, is 1,136 miles, 35 hours on a train, 24 hours on a bus, 2 hours, 48 minutes on a plane.
We don't know travel, do we?
That is a lot of travel.
We talk about travel when we go, I don't want to go 3 hours up to, Birmingham or Manchester or something like that. We don't know travel. I got family in, bless you, we got a family in America, and they say, like, when they hear me talking, like, 2 or 3 hours when I meet them, they're like a drive for them is like a normal drive to go on holiday is like 8-9 hours. You know, it's ridiculous.
Contrast Qatar, where everything was within an hour.
Yeah. I remember going to my uncle's in Florida, and we went to Key West. It was like, took ages to get there, but to them it's just the norm. Yeah,
and the other thing that strikes me, credit Cardiff fans who braved, I don't know how many hours of traffic to get to Stevenage, and they were rewarded. Different thing, but it was all on the travel. Eduardo, talking of travel.
Yeah,
Saturday. Remind us where you're going in the Welsh Cup on Saturday for Newport City.
So the game's been confirmed. We're playing at Bangor.
Bangor
City Stadium. So
not Triader.
Not Triader. That's where they play their home games, at Bangor. So
how come they're playing there then?
I just think it's something up with their ground or something.
Right, okay.
That's why they've been playing at Bangor this season.
Oh, okay.
So it's a bit shorter of a journey, which is going to be nice. But we're kicking off later because before us, Bangor are playing against Trevelyan, who are also in our league in the Welsh Cup.
So 2 games on the same pitch.
Yeah, on the same day. So 2:00, Bangor play Trevelyan, and then we're playing at 5:30.
It's like 2020 finals day, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
That's cricket.
How are you doing anyway? Where are you in the league?
I think we are 8th. We're just drawing too many games. So we're playing tonight again. But yeah, we've dropped too many points, especially at home.
Manager, what's his name?
Sam Holdsworth. Yeah.
Okay.
But we've definitely got enough quality to turn it around. So
if you're listening to this on Thursday, check Newport City's result. Who are you playing tonight again?
Cardiff Draconians.
Cardiff Draconians. Oh, the Dracs. Yeah,
and if you get no more airplay after today, mind, that's free advertising for.
I know.
Okay. Listen, thank you so much for everything.
Ed is the man.
Cheers, Edward.
Ed's the man.
You're a top man.
He's like, he doesn't just give you like the results; he gives you insight to the game.
He does. Well. Yeah. He does.
Quality, Ed.
You want to think about that?
Yeah.
So that'll just about do it for this week's Rob and Blakey podcast. It's been a bumper edition, split into 2 parts. So make sure you listen or watch both of them. And thank you to Cameron Toshack again. Next week, oh my word, next week, we'll reflect on Cardiff against Chelsea in the Carabao Cup.
Yeah.
And look ahead to the first Welsh derby of the Championship this season.
And we got to reflect on... You've missed it, Isa. It's okay, you've missed it. The biggest reflection. We've got to reflect on your jumper.
Oh, well. I was going to say we're going to look forward, unlike Grinch here. For those who are not watching, I've got a Christmas jumper on. It says driving home. It's just for Eduardo, really, because he's got a long drive home this weekend.
Yeah.
But no, next week it's the Swansea Wrexham derby on the Friday night. We'll have a full preview here, so you do not want to miss next week. But that's it for today's Rob and Blakey commentary podcast. You know, we're loud and clear on Welsh football.